I'd like to tell all of you today about how you should give NVIDIA all of your money because, well, they paid me to say, I'm just kidding, guys. Okay, look, yesterday I posted that NVIDIA sent me something. We'll be busy this weekend. Not sure if I'll have time to get any other videos out or not. Well, here I am making one, but no editing's happening here. We're just talking at you and uploading it anyway, and definitely see you Tuesday morning. Now, what's going on here? There was some speculation, well, not speculation, but I saw a lot of these types of comments, and it's great. I mean, overall, people are happy. Like, that's awesome news. Just like everyone here is saying, I want to reiterate, please don't fall into being biased if they offer you some money or something. Your channel was growing before this and will continue after, as long as you stay honest. Keep it up. First thing I want to say to everybody is, well, thank you for all the congratulations, and not only that, but thank you for all the, subscribers. Guys, I did not ever imagine this channel passing 80,000 subscribers. That is absolutely insane. I started this channel as just really a creative outlet. You know, during the whole pandemic thing, when I had to teach online, I wanted to do a really good job doing that. So I bought a nice live streaming setup, which, because I wanted, if I have to compete with high school students' attention on a screen, I know they're watching Twitch all day and that kind of thing. So I thought, I should be able to set up a green screen, good camera, microphone setup, and try to have an engaging presentation online. But that also meant I was set up well to try out making some YouTube videos. And since, my wife is awesome, but she is limited in her interest level on computer hardware topics, if I'm not going to talk her ear off about things she doesn't really care about, I'll just send these thoughts out into the void. But guys, it's not the void anymore. You guys are awesome. This is amazing. The channel is growing. But also I have not quit my day job and currently have no plans to do so. I like teaching, and I also like the stability of teaching and its income. It is predictable. And currently I have kept my YouTube channel income completely separate from my normal financial situation. My wife and I make enough money to provide for our family's expenses. The YouTube channel is completely separate, which is also why I think you guys don't need to be worried about me falling into some biased trap for money or something like that. First of all, just that, like I said, this YouTube channel for me, while it is now exploding, and that's really exciting, it is still just a hobby for me. And the whole point of it is for me I like to give my opinions on this stuff. I like to research it. I like to tell people about it. And that's what I do here, okay? Also, because I do have a whole other job that's completely stable and I keep those finances separate, I have no, how should I put this? If this channel was my only sense of, sole source of income, and I was struggling to put food on my table for my family, there would be a different level of pressure when money and views and sponsorships are involved. So hopefully that makes sense. But the other thing I want to say is just make it very, very clear how this process worked. Because also I've got some questions about that, like how did you get a hold of NVIDIA? How did you get a review sample? So let's talk a bit about that. That might be something that you guys find interesting. So the first part is probably less interesting than you might think. The first thing I did was, make a YouTube channel that is now passing 80,000 subscribers, which isn't the biggest. And this is thanks to you guys. You guys are awesome subscribing, all of that. Again, thank you so much. But I have a channel that is getting views now. For example, my RTX 3080 versus 4090 video is 350,000 views now and still climbing. So in other words, I didn't reach out to NVIDIA, they reached out to me. Did not mean to start playing that video. Anyway, so I want to make that clear. They reached out to me, and also they didn't just offer me products in cash. That's not how this worked. They just said, hey, we're reaching out from NVIDIA. so that you have contacts to talk to if you have any questions. Now, I replied by requesting review samples and linking my work, like this video and a few others that are clearly getting a lot of attention, a lot of traction, and just said, hey, I like to review GPUs, but I have to fight with everybody else on launch day to try to even get one. So if I did get review samples, that would help me out. Also, for comparison purposes, for example, I compared the 3080 versus the 4090 for a variety of reasons, but one of them was I didn't have a 3090 or a 3090 Ti. So, well, that's changed now. NVIDIA sent me a 3090 Ti in the mail. This is not the only thing I got in the mail, so you can continue to speculate on what the other thing might be. But anyway, I mentioned that I could fill out my top end of my 3000 series lineup for comparison purposes in reviews. And then I also mentioned that it would be nice to get access to any future GPUs coming out so that I could do day one reviews. And I even mentioned that, even if I couldn't get them day one, if I just didn't have to compete in line with everyone else to try to buy one day one and just get one out in a timely manner, that would be great. Now, they then immediately sent me everything that I asked for. And interestingly, in the note of the idea of being biased because they offered money, or I think some of these comments are saying, and by the way, I'm not calling this out. I mean, thank you for the support, guys. I'm just saying this is a lot of people stay true to the spirit of the channel. Don't be biased. There's a lot of this kind of stuff. There's also a lot of people just very happy for me, good job growing the channel and all of that, and thank you. And I think even most of the people expressing this concern is because you like my honest feedback. But to be clear, there was no agreement on things I could or could not say about upcoming GPUs. There is a review embargo. So there is a time at which I can tell you what I want to tell you and show you what I want to show you. But there is no agreement to what I say. I had no agreement to the content. And to be clear, there was also no cash sent to me. Now, you might be like, well, the value of expensive video cards like this is quite high. That is true. But also, I'm not going to sell these. They're going to sit on a shelf until I'm doing reviews. I bought my 4090 myself, so I already have a better GPU. So I'm not anyway, you see what I'm saying. But I'm not going to lie and say that this doesn't save me money in the context of I don't have to purchase GPUs for review. But to be clear, I already was purchasing the GPUs for review. So anyway, the point is that I get that people are concerned that review samples come with strings attached. So I want to be very open about this process. First of all, they sent me the stuff in the mail before even telling me a review embargo date. So I actually emailed back to clarify, hey, can I unbox this on the channel? Can I post performance figures? I want to start out on a good relationship and not mess things up here. There is a review embargo, right? And then they actually got back to me with the review embargo and unboxing dates. And then also there's a press website where you actually get the drivers. So in order to test a GPU that hasn't been launched yet, you do need drivers that can run it. And the ones that are out there in the public can't do that. So that's one of the ways they lock down some of this information is you need access to those drivers. Now, to be clear, to get access to those drivers, I did not have to sign any papers saying I will only report positive information about this product. In fact, to be clear, I have not agreed to say anything, and I have not agreed to not say anything other than the review embargo date. In other words, there is a time at which I can say things. Okay? That's it. That's all I have agreed to. So I think where the potential for pressure comes in is it's more of an unspoken pressure. And I think I think some people do think there's actually some nefarious, literal agreement on what I will say or get a script, but I don't think that's a common sentiment. I think the more realistic concern is one of access, right? So in other words, having access to a review sample to do a day one review is a good and valuable thing. So if someone felt pressure to not say anything negative about the product or be extra positive about the product in order to please the people giving them the product for the review sample, then I see where that comes in. So that's really an issue of access. So I want to talk about that. To be clear, I have purchased every GPU on my channel except for my RX 6600 non-XT. And I have never hid that fact, just most of you weren't around on my channel. I had less than 10,000 subscribers at the time. I did get sent an RX 6600, although it was after its launch. So, you know, it wasn't a day one review sample or anything like that. But literally every other GPU on my channel I have purchased, just like anybody else. And my reviews have always come out significantly after the GPUs launched. The one I've done closest to launch is the 4090, but I had to buy it on day one after reviews were already out. And I had to wait to get it in the mail, which took a while. And then I had to start producing my review, which took a long time, several days, about a week. And then I actually published my review. Now, so I didn't get any of that day one access. However, like I said, the video's over 350,000 views and climbing. So in other words, what I've noticed is if I'm able to put out good quality content, it gets a lot of views and continues to get views over time. And I've never had the day one launch. So actually, I'm honestly kind of curious, guys, if a day one launch video will do better or worse. I've always heard they will do better because that's when interest is high, and that's probably true. But frankly, I'm a little bit concerned that launching at literally the same minute as everyone else would, you know, are they going to just all watch the big channel and then not see my video? Does that lower my click-through rate and then the YouTube algorithm doesn't promote it? I don't know. It's probably a good thing to get day one, but we'll find out. Anyway, so that's just an interesting thing to note. So to be clear, I have always been able to purchase GPUs. The RTX 4090 review, plus the follow-up review I did, plus my unboxing video, plus some Q&A follow-up to these, all the content I was able to produce using my 4090 was able to pay for my 4090. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is this is not my full-time job. So as long as this channel just pays for itself, which it does, I don't feel any sort of I need to eat pressure to say anything particularly positive or negative about anybody. I like to give my honest opinion. So this is my really long-winded answer, but I thought you guys might be kind of interested in the overall process too. Is there any sort of pressure? Guys, I'm producing exactly the same review I would have produced if I bought it myself. The only difference is you will get access to it sooner. If this review means that I don't get access to NVIDIA review samples in the future, okay, I'll just keep doing what I've always been doing. But anyway, I've never tried to be overly negative about NVIDIA or overly positive about NVIDIA or for AMD. Either way, I just give my honest opinion on things. I've noticed whenever I say anything positive about one company or the other, there's always comments saying you're a shill for one company or the other. And whenever I say something negative about one company or the other, again, there's all those shill comments. Now, to follow up, because I think this is a related topic, when I did my video about, well, there goes all my money, when I unboxed my 4090 that I bought, I did get a highly upvoted comment here saying, take the sponsors. We don't care. I love this channel. Keep up the great work. And I also did get a comment from Hardware Unboxed reaching out, offering help getting contacts for samples and things like that. I have followed up with Hardware Unboxed. That's not where these NVIDIA contacts came from. That was actually just organically. I got contacted by NVIDIA. But I have been reaching out to talk to other companies about just other stuff for the future. So that's a thing. In other words, I might get access to more stuff for the channel. But then also I think this one is talking more about do sponsored ad segments, that kind of a thing. And most people replying to that were supportive of that. It's heavily upvoted, all that kind of thing. But there was also some expression of concern that a lot of people like that my channel just gets straight to the point and I don't do the sponsored ad segments and all of that. So let's talk about that. First of all, for people who have been around my channel a long time and watch all my videos, I do some sponsored ad segments. That is something that I already have been doing for a number of months. It's just the quantity of them is fairly low. If you watch the big tech channels, I think pretty much every video has a sponsored ad segment. For me, it's been once or twice a month, sometimes none, anyway, that kind of a thing. And that's only been the last, this year, basically, that my channel has been big enough to get any of those deals. Now, to be clear, I am selective, I'm selective of which ones I take. But also, it's not like I've just had sponsors just falling all over themselves to sponsor videos on my channel. Guys, I am thrilled with my channel's growth. You guys are amazing. And I never thought my channel would get 80,000 subscribers. But there's channels with millions of subscribers, right? Which means that there's other channels that are more obvious for sponsors to go to, when they're looking to do sponsored videos, that kind of a thing. And also, a lot of sponsors for smaller channels, to be frank, try to take advantage of you and offer you really terrible deals that are nothing like the going market rate, as I understand it. So some sponsors I turn down because they're, quite frankly, offering insultingly low value for me to interrupt your video with a sponsored segment, which I realize can be a little bit annoying. And it also takes me time and effort to produce the sponsored segments, so it needs to be worthwhile to me and to you, right? that kind of a thing. Also, if it's a product, for example, I constantly get offered sponsorships for gray market Windows license CD seller sites. My inbox gets flooded with requests for me to sponsor those, but I feel weird about sponsoring a gray market CD key thing. I'm not telling you to use those or not use those. I'm just saying that feels a little bit weird. I'm not sure I want to sponsor that for you. Does that make sense? Anyway, so in other words, I turn down a lot of sponsors for a variety of reasons. But I do sponsored segments, and I expect to continue doing them in the future. And if they offer me a fair deal, don't require me to say anything that's, terribly dishonest or something like that, I'm not afraid of accepting sponsored segments, and I have in the past. But again, I will always clearly mark which piece of the video is a sponsored ad segment. I will say, this is sponsored by. I will tell you, this is a sponsored segment. And so just in general, on my channel and every other channel, you guys do need to make sure you're using your critical thinking skills, right? There is a difference between a sponsored advertisement segment in a video and the rest of the video. The rest of the video is my video, exactly like it would always be. But if there is a sponsored advertisement segment, you have to understand that you're watching a commercial. That is a sponsored advertisement segment. Like I said, I don't just accept every sponsored segment that comes my way. I do filter that somewhat. But again, use critical thinking skills when you're watching sponsored ad segments. So anyway, I try to make sure they're products that could be useful or interesting, seem to be of good quality, something that I would, but I'm not saying that they're the same things that I would just post on my community page as some amazing deal, right? Those are not sponsored, by the way. I can make money on my community page posts if they're Amazon links, just through Amazon referrals. But in other words, there's a difference between me recommending something as an amazing deal organically versus being paid to do so in a clearly marked paid sponsored segment. Anyway, this video is way longer than I thought it would be, and I have some benching to do, also some benchmarking to do, but I tend to bench while I benchmark. And anyway, I'm just rambling now because I don't sleep enough when I'm trying to produce reviews on limited time. I hope all of you have an excellent day.